Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live weekly chat. I'm back. I've been gone for a week because it was my birthday. So I took a week off. I was doing other things. But I really missed this live chat. So I'm back. The format remains exactly the same. If you've got a question or you want to say anything to me about the British royal family, just say hello and type your comment or your question into the chat box that you can see. Now, as always, I've pre-opened the chat window, so I'll just go and find that and do the hellos. I can see Oh Dear is in here already. So hello to Oh Dear, who says, are you enjoying your time off work? Yes, I am. And you say it's very hot today where you are. Not really hot where I am in the UK, but it's not too bad. At least it hasn't rained a lot. You're sat with a nice, chilling with a glass of white wine and a snack while waiting for this to start. Hello to Nina. Hello to James. Hello to Jordan. Hello to HW, who says happy belated birthday. Who's telling me that I was missed last week. Oh, that's really kind. Thank you. And yes, I did have fun. Hello to Van Algil, Candice. Hello to Amanda, who's wishing me a happy belated birthday. Thank you so much. And hello to Jamie, who says, greetings to you, Your Grace. Thank you so much. Now, not right now, but later, if you want to, I don't know if you want to or not, but if you want to, I thought it might be nice to show you some of my birthday cards. Not what's inside, but just some of the birthday cards I've got. So if you want to see the birthday cards, let me know in the chat. And also, this might be a good time to mention or even talk about maybe scratch and sniff. If this was smelly vision, what would I smell like? Well, I had this new aftershave for my birthday, and it's Versace Eros, if you're wondering. It's a nice little kind of turquoise bottle. So if you're wondering what I smell like tonight, go to your local department store, find Versace Eros, spray some, and then you will know exactly what I smell like tonight. So I'm not being sponsored by Versace or anything like that, but I'm just telling you what I'm wearing tonight. Versace Eros. So scratch and sniff, scratch and sniff. Oh Dear says, yes, please. Nice little celebration. Ren says, happy birthday and hello to everyone. Candice says, yes, please, show your birthday cards. And HW says, bring on the birthday cards. Now, because it's been 2 weeks, there's lots and lots and lots to talk about. But I would like to say that over the past week, because lots of the royals have started their summer holidays, there hasn't been that much British royal family news, which is why, if you're wondering, I've started covering a few more, European monarchy stories, because basically the British monarchy, there hasn't really been anything in terms of engagements going on. So that's why you're seeing a lot more European royals, just in case you were wondering. So that's kind of answered David's question, which is what's new with the royals? Well, not that much, to be quite honest. Steve says, where are the birthday balloons? I'm sorry, they've gone. I did also have birthday cake, but I'm afraid I didn't save you any. I'm really bad. I would like to show you a present I got, but maybe I'll show that a bit later. The only news that I can really tell you is that the Queen is up in Balmoral for the start of her summer holidays. She did go 2 or 3 weeks earlier, but she always stays for 2 weeks on. It's kind of like a lodge that's on the estate. So she stays there for 2 weeks, and then she moves into the castle, into the main Balmoral castle, and that is where she met. Well, she was kind of reunited with the pony that ate her flowers. So if you remember the pony that ate the flowers, it was quite a nice moment when she was reunited with that pony. So she is fully, if you like, installed in Balmoral for the summer, and lots of relatives and all the family members visit throughout different points in the summer season. So at the moment, the Duke of York and Sarah Ferguson, the ex-wife, the Duchess of York, or rather Sarah, Duchess of York, as is her correct title now, she's actually at Balmoral holidaying with the Queen. So I did make a video on that. So I just want to know what you guys think about that. They flew by private jet. Jamie says, am I going to open the mystery package? Yes. Well, actually, I already opened it. I cheated. I couldn't wait. But I will show you what was in the mystery package from the last live chat episode. I will show you. Tonya says, hello from Dallas. Hello to you. And hello to you wherever you are, wherever you're watching. Annette says, hello, Elliot and everyone. Dinner will be late tonight. You've missed too many entertaining the kids and making bath and beauty products. Wow, perhaps you could send some my way. Nina says, yes, what was in the bag? Okay, I'll do the bag next. Let me just get through a few more comments and I'll let you know. Oh dear says, why does she stay in the lodge first? Is there a photo of it somewhere? Yes, there's a photo. I believe it's the same lodge she's photographed with her recently deceased cousin Margaret Rhodes. There's a photo of them together at the lodge. So I think it's that lodge. Maybe I'll post a photo or do a video on it. I could post it on Instagram or Twitter. Pebbles, I'm going to call you Pebbles, says, what about Andrew and Fergie at Balmoral? Well, I've just discussed that, and it seems like she was very, very welcome. Candice says, what a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Sorry, I sneezed. Maybe it's the flowers. I had to do a little sneeze then, and I couldn't quite cover that one up. Annette says, yes, Elliot, are you going to open your birthday present from your co-worker? Like I say, it's already open, but I will show you. And it is indeed royal. Oh dear says, making plans for Eugenie's wedding, perhaps? Maybe. Beatrice wasn't there this week. Maybe she'll come later on in the season, but she was enjoying a birthday holiday. Jamie says, I knew there was no way you'd not open it. You have to be a saint not to open it. Yes, well, I did open it, I'm afraid. Veta says, welcome back. You were missed. Is one of the Queen's lower titles called the Duchess of Edinburgh since she married to the Duke? Before she was Queen, she was known as the Duchess of Edinburgh. But obviously being Queen trumps any other title, if you like. So in a game of top trumps, Queen comes above all else. So yes, it is one of her, I suppose, lower titles. However, she is just formally known as Her Majesty the Queen. So she would never, ever, ever use that title again. Dawn says, hi everyone, hope everyone is having a great Saturday. I hope you do too. Annette says, oh Sarah, yes, would love to send you some of my natural bath and beauty products. That would be amazing. I would love to try them. HW says, Elliot, do you think that Andrew is going to tell the Queen that he and Sarah are going to remarry? I would love them to just remarry. I think everybody would. Of course, we don't know the true, real nature of their relationship, but we can only guess that it's perhaps akin to living as husband and wife. So perhaps making it official would be a good step, but perhaps not while the Queen and Prince Philip are still with us. Who knows? Linda says, bless you. Yes, I did. I sneezed. Okay, Pebble says, what about the rumours about Harry and Meghan? Well, of course, before her birthday, which was also August the 4th, which was also my birthday and the Queen Mother's birthday, check out the birthday Queen Mother video I made for some nostalgic, a walk in the past and a remembrance of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. So check out that video. But the Queen Mother, me and Meghan Markle all share the same birthday, August the 4th. And there was lots of talk that perhaps he would propose to her on her birthday. Of course, we don't know if ever he did. They're currently away on holiday in Africa. We believe Botswana. Harry's been there previously with a previous girlfriend, Cressida bonus. So yes, they're on an African adventure. Who knows what's gone on whilst they've been there? Of course, William chose Africa to propose to Catherine. Is he going to follow the same course or the same tradition? Who knows? We will have to wait and see for an official announcement, if indeed one is forthcoming. Jamie says, I'm drinking Coke, the black liquid, not the white powder. I should think so too. In fact, I'm drinking today something different. I'm drinking green tea. I hope you all have your favourite tipple. Pebble says, happy Saturday to everyone. David says, can you tell about when Prince Edward will receive the Duke of Edinburgh? Well, he will receive it, or it will be conferred upon him when the current Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, passes away. So that's why he's an Earl and not a Duke, because he wanted to take the title from his father. But of course, he can't take the title until his father passes away. So I think at the moment he's quite happy with being the Earl of Wessex, and he will receive the Dukedom of Edinburgh when the time comes. But of course, that will be up to Charles to confer that title on Edward, because of course all titles revert back to the crown in that case. So Philip can't kind of say, I'm leaving you that in my will, so to speak. That will revert back to the crown, and Prince Charles will give that back out again. And I'm sure he will honour his father's wishes. Dawn says, I would love if they did get engaged. Me too, wouldn't it be great? Oh dear says, no sightings of Prince Philip since his last engagement. I believe he would have gone straight up to join the Queen at Balmoral. Of course, we have no evidence of that. He hasn't actually been seen yet, but perhaps he was helicoptered up there, and you know, he like the Queen are safely installed in the grounds of Balmoral Castle. Angela says they are going to be in Botswana for 3 weeks. That's a nice holiday. It is indeed. And I don't know whether I am envious of that particular holiday or not. Africa is one of those places where I think I'd like to see, but I'm not sure whether I'd like to spend so much time there. It always seems, I mean, I'm probably completely wrong on this case, but it always seems quite barren to me, and kind of barren places don't really do it for me for a holiday. Of course, there's lots to see, and it's very exciting to see the animals and go on safari, but I'm not quite sure it's for me, so I don't think I'm entirely jealous of the African holiday. Dawn Moore says, yes, why is Prince Philip not at Balmoral with the Queen? I believe he is, but of course he's not been seen, so we'll have to wait and see. A good time to know will actually be tomorrow when they attend church. So if he's there, I will make a video of him attending church. If he's not attending church, we know he's not there yet. David says, what entitlements will he get once given the title? Nothing, basically. The Duke of Edinburgh title doesn't come with any land or any money or any estates. It doesn't come with anything. So he will just be called he'll be known as His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. But one thing he is taking over is the Duke of Edinburgh Award. So he will be patron of, well, he'll be the sort of head patron of that, which of course is the scheme that his father took up and he is heavily involved with now. Pebble says, it's Prince Philip's staff minimised now. To be honest, no comment was made on whether the staff has been reduced since he's given up. Solo engagements. Of course, he hasn't given up all engagements. He will, from time to time, do something that he wants to do. If he wants to accompany the Queen somewhere, he will. If he wants to attend an ad hoc solo event, then he will. You know, he has that choice now. He hasn't got to. He can do it when he wants to. And of course, he hasn't retired from the main state functions like the opening of Parliament or Garter Day or anything like that. He will still be involved in those set piece moments in royal life and in the royal calendar as well. Jamie says, I kind of half believe that the Queen has a double that plays her role when she's tired and can't. No, I don't think so. I think it's all her. I think it's all natural. You've been taking note of engagements for the past 5 months and some things just don't add up. Let me know what doesn't add up. I haven't noticed anything. Love the 50s says, if Diana did not want a divorce, could they have stayed married? They could. And I do believe that's probably what Charles kind of, in a way, wanted. He kind of wanted to have a mistress. He wanted Camilla to be his mistress. I think Camilla was quite happy to be his mistress, and she was quite happy for Diana to become queen and to have all the trappings of royalty. And I think that has probably come out a little bit in the recent tapes that have been released and the documentaries that have been out there. But of course, Diana was a modern woman. She wasn't happy with her husband taking a mistress. She wanted love, she wanted to give love, and she wanted true love in return. She was modern. She didn't want to go down the route of sharing her man, and of course the rest is history, so to speak. Candice, I think I've missed one of some questions. Let me go back up because I think I've missed a few here. James says the Queen can give it to Edward if she outlives her husband. Yes, she can. That is one good point. Dawn says, do you think he's there with Sarah? Yes, I do. I do believe, yes. I mean, I can't really see why he doesn't like her. Yes, she's brought some bad press to the family, but I think as a character, I mean, he always liked her bubbly, vivacious character. He always said that. So I think one of the comments was that when she first came into the family, she brought a breath of fresh air. And I can imagine that she's still fun and that she still kind of does that. Pebble says, cheers for the Meghan and Harry comments. I hope the engagement soon. I do too, just get out of the way. But time will tell. We can't speculate. Candice says, I see you're making videos of other royals now. That's great. I follow all of them, but not as closely as the British royals, of course. It's only because all of our British royals are on holiday. So I've not really had much choice. But I'm saying that I have quite enjoyed delving into the European royals and their life. The reason I don't normally is because our royals, the British royal family, produce so much content that I don't need to go elsewhere. There's always something going on daily. There's always a story that I can tell. So I'm kind of reaching out to other areas because at the moment it is very quiet. They're on their summer holidays, which is fair enough. But yes, I have quite enjoyed making videos of other royals, and I hope you've enjoyed watching them too. HW says, the secret to a long marriage is to have separate residences. It works like a charm if you can afford it. Well, actually, funny you should say that. In the British upper classes, in the aristocracy and royalty, it's tradition, it's the norm for men and women, married couples, to have separate bedrooms. And it's well known that the Queen and Prince Philip do have separate bedrooms. Of course, they must have cohabited beds at some point. They have children, but yeah, they have separate beds, separate bedrooms, and perhaps that's not always a bad idea. I can definitely see that working. You definitely get a peaceful, nice night's sleep, wouldn't you? Let me know, okay, in the comment section, whether you're watching on catch up or live, let me know, would you, if you could, have separate bedrooms to your partner? Okay, Nina says, I wouldn't like Africa either. I hope Meghan does because Harry loves it there. I have good authority that Meghan loves Africa. She does spend a lot of her time there. Before she met Harry, she used to do lots of charity work there. So it's right up both of their streets. Not for me, but for them. I really hope they're having a good time. Sandy says, hi Elliot, I love your show. Thank you for watching. Annette says, well, Africa wouldn't be bad with your own security force. I do. Well, the last time Harry was in Africa saving the elephants, he didn't have a lot of security. I think he had his normal protection officer, but he certainly didn't have a big kind of array of security like what you'd think he would have had. Oh dear says, I thought the news said that his staff would be reduced once he has retired. That was the reason they called all the staff to the announcement meeting of his retirement. Yes, they called all the staff over, but don't forget, a lot of the staff is shared at the palace between the Queen and Prince Philip. He will have had some personal staff, and I would imagine that they would have been relocated elsewhere within the royal household. So in that sense, it will have been reduced slightly. But of course, the kind of shared staff is still going on for the Queen. So although there will be some, what can you call it, kind of movement in the royal household, and perhaps there would have been some temporary appointments that would have been cancelled, I don't think there's been a big, massive cull in that kind of sense. Okay, Pebble says, how is it decided? Hang on, I'm going to go down. The title, oh, I've lost it. Where's it gone? Okay, how is it decided the title of Duke of Edinburgh? Well, obviously that was conferred to Prince Philip when he married the Queen. And I think Edward has just always fancied that title, and it's been put out there that he is going to inherit that from his father. Sandy says, I have a question. Did you name the cup? If so, what's her name? Oh, you mean the cup with the feet? No, no one got back to me. If you follow me on, I think I put it on Twitter or Instagram. I'm on both. Do follow me and like me and whatever it is on Twitter and Instagram, Royal Reviewer. I posted a picture of my childhood cup and it had feet, really cute feet. And I asked people, name it, name the cup. And I don't think anyone got back to me. So find the tweet or Instagram photo, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Twitter, and name the cup. Okay, Jamie says, when the Queen visited the Manchester hospital after the terrorist attack, the facial features such as the cheek and nose were different. I noticed on all occasions when I think there's a double. I don't think there's a double. I didn't notice any facial features changing in photos. However, I do think that in recent months, probably the past 3-4 months, I think the Queen has lost a little bit of weight. I mean, I think she looks quite healthy. I'm not saying losing weight is unhealthy, but I think she has lost a little bit of weight. Let me know what you think. Can you see that too? And Jamie says, double always arrives in a Range Rover, not the Bentley, with no royal standard. And the voice sounds different and crackled. I will have to look out for this. I don't think that is the case, but I will check it out. All the same. HW says, Elliot, I just recently learned that Camilla Parker Bowles' husband had previously been in a relationship with Princess Anne. Yes, the Princess Royal. That is indeed true. And that was news to you. Now, that would be a really good note, I think, talking about Princess Anne, to show you my present. Okay, so this is the present that I was going to open live, but I didn't. I was really naughty. And I will show you what it is. Well, here's the back of it, first of all. So it's obviously you can see it's some kind of book. It's kind of leatherette, we call it leatherette bound. It's old, well, oldish. And if I show you the front, I'm not sure if you can see, but actually I'm going to change my screen so that I can see what you see. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, can you make out what it is? It's kind of like an album. Can you see it's got a bit of shimmer on the front? And it's actually the Royal Wedding 1973. And it's got an A and a M. Can you guess what it is? Okay, I'm going to open it. So it's like a binder book. And it is, can you see that? It's a royal wedding stamp album, and you can see the little crest there. Let me show you. I'll read it to you. It's a souvenir album for the Commonwealth stamps issued during November 1973 to commemorate the wedding of Princess Anne and Captain Mark Phillips. And it's published by Stanley Gibbons, 391 The Strand in London, by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen. And it details a little bit about the royal romance. I'm not going to read all of it because there's quite a bit. There is quite a memorable quote. It says, I take it this is Princess Anne. It says, "I shall marry the man I choose, no matter who he is or what he does." So there's lots of like little information and all things like this. So I'm going to get to the actual stamps. So there's lots of pages of kind of writing and that kind of thing. Okay, then we get to the stamps. So these are actual stamps. Ooh, there you go. I'm going to have to stick that one back down. See, look, they are actual stamps. I will stick that one back. I won't break them. And it goes through all of the stamps. So there's lots and lots and lots of different ones. See? And it goes through all of them, and they're all from places like Bermuda. Let me see if I can turn around and kind of read it. Can you see? So there's Bermuda, British Antarctic Territory, British Solomon Islands, Brunei, Cayman Islands, Falkland Islands, Gibraltar, Gilbert and Ellice Islands. I'm not sure if you can see the stamp there. There you go, can you see? So it's the same picture but on different stamps for different nationalities. And it goes through all of them. South Georgia, St Vincent, St Helena, Jersey. There's lots and lots and lots of stamps. So it's kind of an addition to my stamp collection. Let me know what you think about that. It was really cool. I'm going to go back to the chat window now because I think I've kind of missed a few questions. So I need to catch up. Hang on. Going down. Okay, I'm going to go down and then back up again. So hang on. Jamie says that's quite nice. Is that what was in the bag? Yes, it was. Odia says, is there a stamp from Canada? Oh, I don't know actually. Let me check. Hang on. So Georgia, St Vincent, St Helena, Jersey, Hong Kong, Great Britain. There should be. Hang on. Maybe not. Hang on. Oh, actually, no, I don't think there is. Seychelles, no, I don't believe there is actually. No, there is no Canadian stamp. Okay, Jennifer says, hello from California. Sorry you're late, don't worry. You can always watch on catch up. I need to go back up because I've missed loads of questions. Annette says, absolutely separate bedrooms makes for a happier marriage. Everyone is less grumpy. Jamie says, the weight could just be it. The checks could just be because she looks more drawn and frail. I don't think she looks drawn and frail. We're talking about the Queen, of course, now. I think she still looks quite healthy, but I do think she has lost a little bit of weight. Steve says, I agree. I think the Queen has lost weight. And Candice says, I have separate bedrooms from my husband. He works until 3 AM many nights a week, and he snores with his mouth open, and it drives you mental. It would too. Oh dear says, yes, have 2 bedrooms. So handy when one is down with the flu. Okay, I'm going to have to go back down to the bottom of the questions. If you typed me a question and I haven't seen it, please retype it if I've missed it and you really want me to answer it. Okay, Pebble says, I've been reading that Charles has been consolidating the different offices in, oh yes, in preparation for London Bridge, which is the Queen's death. Would you like to know my thoughts on this? Yes, Charles is kind of trying to kind of integrate the two households. Of course, up until kind of, well, in the past, shall we say, they've kind of been seen as rival courts, kind of the Queen's court and Prince Charles's court. And I think he wants everything more streamlined, and he kind of wants his to kind of take more of a forefront in the main running of the monarchy. And that's where this kind of gentle succession, gentle handover is taking place. And it makes sense, it does make sense. And, hopefully that will make for a very smooth transition when London Bridge does actually happen. And I have no idea why there is no Canadian stamp. I'll have another look properly later, and if I do find it, I'll post it on Twitter. Yes, there is a stamp from Gibraltar. Annette says, what a thoughtful gift it was indeed. And I didn't even know this even existed. I didn't even know it was made. So it was really good. Okay, Catherine says, it is not the British royal family only. When in Canada, it is our royal family. Well, funny you should say that, because I did look it up, because someone posted a question once saying about why in a video I referred to Prince Charles of the United Kingdom and not Prince Charles of Canada. And that's because he's not a Prince Charles of Canada. The only title that's recognised by Canadian law, so I researched, I didn't know this until I kind of researched it a bit more, but the only title that's recognised is the monarch themselves. The monarch is the head of state, the Queen of Canada. The same as with all her other realms. Anyone else in the family, the Queen's husband, Prince Philip, the heir to the throne, Prince Charles, William, Catherine, they have no recognition in Canadian or any other overseas territory law. So you might think that Prince Charles is also Prince of Canada or a prince in Canada, but he's not. The only one that's recognised is the Queen. And I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't even think many Canadians know that, or many foreign people of overseas territories that the Queen is head of state of. But yes, that's true. So no, it's kind of not the royal family of Canada, it's the Queen of Canada. That's how legally it was all set up all those years ago. I mean, personally, I kind of think that the royal family goes with the monarch hand in hand, and our royal family is your royal family too. But legally, technically speaking, that's not true, and it's not the case because of the way legally it was all set up. So there's a little interesting fact for you guys. Okay, James says, Anne was quite beautiful back when she married, and Zara looks like her. Zara does look quite a lot like Anne. And her current husband, Sir Timothy Lawrence, did a solo engagement without her recently. He did. And he did a very good job as well. He made a speech. I think it was the Passchendaele commemoration. And he did a really good job. Prince Charles also made a speech, and you can see the video I made on that on my channel. Okay. HW says, what can you tell us about His Royal Highness the Bonnie Prince Charles exploring his roots in the Transylvanian castle of Vlad the Impaler? Well, I know that Charles has a great interest in Transylvania. He actually has a home there, and he does go over there every single year. And I think he spends a week in Transylvania. And the Transylvanian people there absolutely love him. I think they're really happy that he's taken an interest in their country and an interest in his roots. Of course, I can't tell you personally what he thinks about any of his ancestors that sort of are from that area or that region, but I know that he does have a really strong bond with Transylvania. He loves it. David says, what does the Countess of Wessex do? Does she work? She used to be in PR before she married into the royal family. Since then, she's done royal duties, so she's supporting the Queen. That's what she does. And hopefully you'll see the videos that I make when I'm able to of her fulfilling her royal engagements. Oh dear says, hi Dawn, I thought no stamp for Canada was odd. I thought at first it was a stamp book of all places in the Commonwealth at that time. I did too, but there is lots and lots of writing in the front which I haven't actually read. Although it does say a souvenir album for the Commonwealth stamps issued during November 1973. Perhaps one wasn't issued for Canada. I don't know why. I didn't even know that existed. I Love God says, why was Diana a princess but Kate is not? Diana was not a princess in her own right. She was never Princess Diana, although she was always referred to that in the press. Sometimes I still call her that on the channel, but that's not correct. Her correct title when married to Charles was the Princess of Wales, Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales. In fact, in terms of being a princess, she was Princess Charles, much the same way that Princess Michael of Kent is Princess Michael of Kent. Of course, her name's not Michael. So Catherine is not Princess Catherine. She's Princess William of Cambridge, in fact. So when William does actually take on his father's Prince of Wales title, which hopefully he will do. I see no reason why he won't. Of course, it's not automatic. It does have to be conferred, but I believe he will. So when he is Prince of Wales, Catherine will be known as the Princess of Wales. And maybe people might start referring to her as Princess Catherine, much the same way people did with Princess Diana. But it's not true. They do not have a princely or princess status in their own right, and I hope that helps. Okay, going back up. Hang on. Jamie says, since the Queen doesn't need a UK passport or driver's license, does this apply in all other Commonwealth countries? I believe that she can turn up anywhere in the world. I mean, if you don't have a passport, you don't have a passport, whether you're going to you know, somewhere in the Commonwealth or, I don't know, Germany, for example. You know, she hasn't got a passport. And I think I read one story about where she turned up somewhere without a passport and she was kind of held back a little bit. And then once it was known that she was the Queen, she was let in. But no, she doesn't have a passport for any other country. She has no passport. Pebble says, do you think if Andrew and Sarah get together, would it be better for a position for Eugenie and Beatrice? I don't think it would affect them at all in terms of their position and their standing in the royal family. Dawn says, too stingy for stamps. No, we were saving up for sapphire brooches. Indeed, indeed. And a sapphire brooch is much more important than a stamp in my view. Pebble says, tell us about your brooch. It's the Queen Elizabeth Star brooch, and she often wears this one. It's one of her bigger brooches, and it's one of the biggest, I'd say, in terms of size in my collection. And I love it. I was kind of hovering and hovering between the bow brooch today and the star, and I just thought the star would look really nice with what I'm wearing tonight, so I went with the star. Oh dear says, yes, we repatriated our own constitution from the UK. when Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister. We recognised the Crown only and did serve under the Crown in World War II. There you go, some Canadian history. Marjol says, hi Elliot, how was your London trip? I didn't go, sadly. I couldn't guarantee that there were places, tickets to go and see the Palace and Kensington Palace, so I didn't want to spend an awful lot of money going to London only to find that I couldn't get to do the things that I wanted to do. So I've learned a lesson in that I need to book in advance. So when next the tickets come out, I will be booking online to make sure that I do definitely have tickets. Pebble says, is that the first time Tim Lawrence has spoken in public? No, I wouldn't have thought so, although you don't often hear him, or it's not often reported that he does. But he's actually a really good speaker, really good at public speaking. Nina says, do you think Charles will push aside his nieces when he becomes king? No, I think he intends to have a streamlined core monarchy, which I think he will do. But I think he will soon realise that when a lot of the older members of the family have passed away, how much work they actually did and how much, well, how too much it is for just a core member of the family. So I think he will kind of need their support later. And I think he'll realise that when it happens. Because of course, you know, one thing he's not going to want to do is to see charities and patronages that have supported some of the other members of the family miss out. And he's not going to want, it won't be good for the country, and it won't be good for the monarchy's reputation to have charities who did have a royal patron now not having one, or there being less engagements attended each year because it's physically impossible to fit them all in. So I think he will end up drawing on the blood royal princesses in the future. Not immediately, but I do think in the future he will need to. So don't feel too bad for them. I think they will have their day. Candice says, I love and admire Her Majesty very, very much. However, I'm still quite perplexed that she has not yet honoured Catherine with a royal family order. I have to wonder why. She usually does make royal wives these days wait a while. Camilla took so many years before she got one. I think Sophie Wessex took so many years before she got one. I would assume, and I will put it out on a limb here, that she will get one soon. So watch this space. She has waited, what is it now, 6 years? I'm guessing around about 7 years is when she will get one. Loretta Hurd says, do the Commonwealths pay taxes to the Queen or the UK? As far as I'm aware, no. And are the Commonwealths under the UK for protection? Again, I don't think so. I mean, of course, we have the Commonwealth of Nations, shared interests, and shared business, and that kind of thing. But certainly, England doesn't pay money to other countries, and other countries don't pay money to Great Britain. That's not the way it was all set up. Once you become an independent country, you become an independent country. The ties are cut. Even though the Queen may be the head of state still, the actual UK government doesn't have any say over another country that the Queen is head of state over, because the Queen is above all of those governments. So no one of the Queen's government has any power over the other, although I'm sure they work together behind the scenes lots. But nobody rules anyone else. Those days are gone. When you're independent, you're independent. The apron strings have been cut. Oh dear says, well, Canada Post let us down for this royal occasion. Well, I mean, I can't believe that this book has got all the stamps, so I can't believe that if one was made, it's not there. Maybe someone could do a little bit of research for me and check. Angel says, hi, how are you doing today? I'm fine, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be back. Annette says, maybe Charles likes Romania so much because his money goes a long way there. I think he just has a very strong connection and the people like him and he likes all the people. James says, the Queen made Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, when her son married the current Duchess of Gloucester. So Princess Alice would not have to be a dowager. Yes, she did. So she can technically make a non-born royal princess or prince if she wants to. However, this never happened with Diana all the time she was married to Charles, and it's very unlikely it will happen to Catherine too. Jamie says, can I just take a moment to thank you for what you do? You make royal watching a community. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And speaking of community, I do have lots of kind of different ways of contacting me and keeping in the loop of our kind of broader royal family, our royal reviewer broad family. I have a Facebook page. I have a Royal Reviewer Facebook group. I also have a patron-only Facebook group for patrons. I have a Twitter and I have an Instagram. I have a Google Plus. What else do I have? Yeah, so I have all the different social medias. If you go on them and just type in Royal Reviewer, I'm sure you will find me. I also have Patreon. So if you like my videos and you feel like you want to give me a tip, a little bit like, I suppose, tipping your hairdresser or tipping your taxi driver, or if you've had a really good meal. If you've enjoyed my videos and you want to give $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, go to Patreon, because you don't just give, you also get exclusive access to the Facebook group. You get exclusive posts and behind the scenes postings and updates that I update all my patrons with. If you're a $10 a month or over subscriber, you get a personalized handwritten birthday card and signed photograph. And I actually posted off 4 so far. So I posted off 2 at the tail end of I know, actually it was the start of this week. So they will be ringing the way off. One went to New York, the other went to California, I do believe. And I also, for my $10 a month or over patrons, they also get a signed Christmas card, which I'm going to be sending off obviously in time for Christmas. So you do get exclusive rewards. I'm working on other rewards too for being a site supporter. So rather than kind of sitting here saying, please donate via PayPal, where basically you don't get anything back, I much prefer Patreon because you get to have something back too, and you get something extra. So if you do really, want to be part of the wider community, be a site supporter, please check out Patreon, Patreon. It's an app and it's also a website you can go to. Type in Royal Reviewer on the search and you will find my page. And anything that I receive is always put back into this channel. So it all goes to help make more content, make more videos, because of course you don't get paid a lot from YouTube. The big massive YouTubers with millions of subscribers, they make the money. Little medium-sized channels like mine, you barely get compensated for your time. It's that kind of level. So any support really does help. YouTube have recently changed their algorithms for their advertising, and lots of videos have been marked down as not advertiser friendly, and this has been happening across all different channels, and it's supposed to pick out the videos that have content which might be controversial. However, it's affected my channel. One of my videos, I'm just using, probably about 10 of my videos got flagged, and they were all completely innocent videos. One video about Princess Beatrice's birthday, her 29th birthday, bearing in mind there's no words in the title, no words in the description, no words in the keywords I put in, that are anywhere near controversial. It's just completely normal, and it got flagged. I requested manual reviews on all of the videos that were flagged, and they all got turned back into monetized videos, which I was really grateful for. But it just goes to show that, you know, YouTube is clamping down. They don't want to pay out as much money as what they do for content creators, which could be bad news, because, you know, a lot of people, if they're not going to get compensated for their time, they won't make the amount of videos. They might not make any videos. They might turn away from YouTube. So I think we're in kind of funny times with YouTube, and I really hope that they get this sorted, and they stop picking on the little channels who make content that is advertiser friendly for everyone. You know, don't pick on birthday videos, please. So I just thought I'd let you know kind of what's going on a little bit behind the scenes with YouTube at the moment. And as I said, it's not just my channel affected. Some whole channels have been completely demonetized by YouTube. You know, if they've got a little bit of swearing in them. Of course, my channel doesn't have any swearing. I'm completely family friendly, but, you know, even my channel has had videos flagged by their automatic algorithm. But the algorithm's wrong. It's, you know, flagged these videos, and it shouldn't have. But it does affect, you know, it does affect YouTube content creators and how much they can put out there. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a moan about that. Okay, now I think I probably missed loads of questions, so I'm gonna have to go back up and see. Oh dear says, are there royal residences or palaces of interest in your area? Not in my area. I do have kind of some stately homes, kind of big posh homes that I could possibly go to. I'm sorry if I'm missing out some of your questions. I'm trying to scan read. HW says, I think that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are preparing for Harry's challenging 20-year anniversary of his mother's death. It will be a huge public event and quite trying. It will indeed. And I hope he's having a lot of rest and relaxation from that. Who knows? The pair of them might go out of the country or be on a low-key holiday when the time comes. Lisa Young says, when Prince Charles becomes king and Camilla the queen, if 2 Charles passes, does Camilla stay queen? She would be known as a dowager queen. So very much the same way, I suppose the last one was Queen Elizabeth, but she was kind of given the title Queen Mother because she was the mother of the Queen. Camilla wouldn't be the mother of the king, so she wouldn't be known as Queen Mother. She would just be, she wouldn't be Her Majesty Queen Camilla. She would be known as Queen Camilla, so a dowager queen, basically. Ren says, I agree with Jamie. Thank you, Elliot, for all you do and making such a great community for all of us. Thank you so much. Pebbles also saying thank you. You really don't need to say thank you. Nina saying thank you. I should be thanking you guys for watching. James says, does the HRH title have a lot of costs that it requires? For example, security. There are security costs involved with being a royal. That is met from government directly, so it doesn't take out of any police budgets. It is met directly from the government. The Princesses of York, they did have full-time royal protection, and it was scaled back. It was cut. So basically, any protection they do have has to be privately paid for by the Duke of York. Pebble says, how is Prince Michael of Kent related to the Queen? It all goes back up. So imagine the family tree. So you've got the Queen, and then you've got her father, the King. So the King's brothers had children, and that's how they are related. So they're cousins, I suppose. I suppose you could say they're cousins. So, in fact, it would be good. In fact, maybe I might do a video on kind of going up the family tree and seeing the different relatives and cousins. That would be quite a good idea. Jamie says the top half needs to be demonetized and sentenced to deletion. Well, funny you should say that. I agree with you. But something's funny's happened with the top half. They are not getting anywhere near the amount of views they were getting before. I think, you know, no one knows with YouTube how it works. No one knows how the algorithms work. I think YouTube has latched on to the fact that it's fake news, and I think it's cutting the amount of recommendations those videos are getting being sent out to people, so it's not getting as many views. However, I do believe that the people behind the top half have got other channels because they use the same thumbnails, basically. So the top half is still there, but I do believe they have other channels, so look out for fake news. Speaking of fake news, we've also had in the press recently, in quite mainstream news across the pond in particular, that the Queen's going to pass over Charles and give William the crown. I will say that is fake news, complete fake news, which is why I never reported on it. Okay. The first Mrs. R says, I have friends who have smaller channels who have suffered because of this change. In YouTube's process, it's not always clear why. Well, really, I mean, it's kind of up to, it's YouTube's job, really, to make sure that the advertisements, the adverts that are placed on a particular video are appropriate to that video. So it's kind of my view that all channels don't have to be suitable for all advertisers. They just have to be suitable for some advertisers, and it's YouTube's job to make sure that the correct adverts are placed on the correct videos. So I think it's a little bit of a, it's a big reaction to the whole PewDiePie situation, which happened, I think, was it in February or April, something like that, where he posted some content that was deemed very highly controversial, and advertisers questioned why their adverts were being placed on that video. Since then, there was a huge backlash. YouTube felt like they had to do something, and they've come up with this kind of system which thinks it picks out what might be controversial and not advertiser friendly, but of course it's picking out the wrong stuff. So they really do need to get their act together and sort it out. Of course, I think it's good that, you know, appropriate adverts should be shown on appropriate videos, but they need to get behind. They need to sort it out. They really do. You know, I'm going to try and ride it through and try and keep on making the content that I normally make. But if things get too tough and, you know, I'm not being compensated for any time, because don't forget, this does take a lot of time. I do love doing it. It's a hobby. But, you know, I could do with some of the money, you know, some of the time that I spend on this, I could get a second job and be earning, you know, an hourly rate, I suppose. So they're going to have to watch, because as soon as they stop paying the content creators for the time they spend making the videos, they're going to not have as much content put on YouTube, which means less advertising for them, which means less profit for YouTube as well. So it's all going to spiral and be a big, massive mess unless they sort it out. So I'm imploring YouTube to please sort it out. You know, and channels like mine, which are family friendly, you know, please just, you know, make my videos known that they are just family friendly, because they are. That's true. Dawn says, could it be some of the recent meanies have done some kind of complaints? No, I don't know. I don't think any of my videos have been flagged by other people. Of course, if that happens, it wouldn't do it in the way that it's just been done. This hasn't been just done to my channel. It's happened to lots and lots and lots of channels. And if you type in the search bar about YouTube's adverts, you'll see quite a few videos pop up where people are really complaining about it. Isle of God says it was reported that the Queen didn't like Diana. She doesn't like Camilla or Kate. Fake news, fake news. That's definitely not true. In fact, actually, whenever you see the Queen with Camilla, they're always smiling and laughing. They have a huge shared interest in horses and in the equestrian field. So no, it's complete fake news. Please don't listen to all this fake news. Cheryl says, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're good too. Jamie says, how does Andrew afford all these expenses? Privately sounds like dirty money to me. He does have, of course, his own private wealth. I think he had some of the legacy from the Queen Mother. So yes, he does have his own private wealth, much the same that Charles has his own private wealth from the Duchy of Cornwall, and Princess Anne has her own money too, and Edward, of course. Nina would love a family tree video. James said, Sophie has earned the Queen's respect and rides with her in the car to church. She does indeed. And I know that the Queen really likes the Wessex family. Pebble says, why is the Monaco royalty title their Serene Highnesses instead of Royal Highnesses? It's just a different, it's because it's a different country, they have a different title system, I suppose, if you like. A little bit like the French had different titles. So Serene Highness is their version of Royal Highness. HW says two things. Firstly, I stopped watching the top half videos after you denounced them. And secondly, have you watched 3 of the half-hour documentary called The Royal Assassination of Princess Diana? No, I haven't. It sounds interesting, but I'm not really that good with conspiracy theories. They kind of really annoy me. I like to know what they are, but then once I've kind of known what they are and I know that it's conspiracy, I kind of lose interest, quite frankly. Okay, now I'm going to look at my notes to see if there's anything really that I've kind of missed. Oh yes, the Diana interview in her own words, which was the footage that was that's already been out in America. It's on the internet. Basically, I hated the program. I didn't even finish watching it. I watched an hour of it and then I turned it off. But I thought it was let down by the production. I wanted to see Diana talking in her own words, as was promised. Instead, it was just a story of her life, which of course we already know. There was so much time wasting on it. At one point, it went on about Margaret Thatcher. There was so many minutes, probably verging on 20-25 minutes, of her just sitting there staring at the camera. And I'm thinking, why aren't they showing her speaking? It was heavily edited. There was nothing new to be learned from it. So basically, I hated it. I thought the one that was out in America that you can get from the internet lets her talk way more than the one that was aired in the UK this week. So I would stay away from it. I didn't like it. However, there have been new tapes kind of in circulation, so to speak, which were actually from her voice coach, I do believe. So not from the Andrew Morton tapes, but a different set of tapes. So I didn't really make any videos on the Diana in her own words tapes because they've already been out there. There was nothing new to be learned from them. However, I did make a video which caused quite a bit of controversy, I suppose, about these new tapes, which revealed little snippets like Diana caught Charles sat on the toilet talking to Camilla. Now, a lot of people, a lot of my regular viewers, came down quite hard on that when I made that video, saying that I shouldn't have made the video, saying that it was disrespectful, saying that I shouldn't do anything to harm the royal family, saying that, you know, kind of implying that I should always be in support of the royal family. And I think that I need to kind of get out there what this channel actually is. This channel is not about me, you know, blowing the wind up the royal family's bottom. You know, I'm not here to make them look good. I'm not here to heap praise on them. I'm here because I have an interest in the royal family, a really big interest. I am a really big supporter of the royal family, but my job with the channel, my role, is to discuss the truth, is to put the truth out there. And actually, you know, I will let it be known that if the royal family, on the rare occasions that they do put a foot wrong, if they do put a foot wrong, I will report on it. I'm not going to shy away from it. You know, I will always tell the truth. I will always try and be non-biased. I will always put the facts out there for you. But, you know, if something really bad happens, I will tell you. Whether or not it's going to harm the royal family or not, I am not going to censor myself just to please the royal family and royal fans. I am a royal fan myself, but the purpose of this channel is to put the truth out there. And if something bad happens, I will say it. I will say it in an unbiased, factual way. But, you know, I'm not here to please people. So I just wanted to get that out there. And, you know, if people don't want to watch my channel because of that, then fine. You know, that's fine. If you don't want the truth, if you want to look at life through rose-tinted spectacles, then do. But I don't, and I shan't be. So the story about Diana finding Charles sat on the toilet talking to Camilla was new. It was a new fact, so I reported on it. I haven't reported this week on all the other stories coming out about the old tapes, but anything new that comes out, if it's factual, I will report on it. So I just wanted to make that known, because if you go to that video, there are so many comments, and I did leave them up. I left them up so that people could see. You know, people that I thought supported this channel basically said that they aren't going to come back because of one video, because of a truthful, factual video. So no, you know, I will always report on what happens and comment on what happens. I'm completely independent. I don't work for a newspaper. I don't get paid any other money other than whatever my YouTube videos make and what people contribute in Patreon. I'm not sponsored by any other products. I am completely free to say and express myself exactly the way that I want to, and I will. So I just wanted to have that little rant, because I've wanted to say that ever since that video. Speaking of rants, another person who had a really big rant this week was Prince Henrik, I think it's pronounced Henrik, of Denmark, who said that he will not be buried next to his wife, Queen Margrethe of Denmark, unless she makes him king consort. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Apparently they have had a double sarcophagus already made that's really expensive, and he said he will not be buried next to her unless she makes him king consort. That's one thing that I cannot imagine Prince Philip actually saying to the Queen. So what do you think about Prince Henrik? What do you think about what he said? Do you think he should be made king consort? Do you think it's an issue of equality? Let me know in the comment section below. And I think, again, I've missed lots and lots and lots of comments. James says, when does the major renovation to Buckingham Palace start? They've already started, but because it's so big, I think they're starting with the places that are least going to be a disruption to start with. There is a 10-year scheme of work which is going to be undertaken, and yes, it is costing round about £370 million. And I don't know if they're going to make a documentary on it. In fact, I hope they do. That's a really good idea. Oh dear says, I haven't taken any offence at any of your videos. They are informative. Thank you very much. Ren says, bravo Elliot, the truth without sensationalism, fair enough. Which is exactly what I want to project for this channel. If you come to this channel, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the truth. I am not the top half. Jamie says, if you don't want the truth, then there's a channel called The Top Half. That is true. Go and get your dose of fakery elsewhere, because you won't find it here. Wendy says, so why is no one, including yourself, not mentioning the recent channel for tapes? I have mentioned them. I haven't mentioned the ones that were in the Diana documentary called In Her Own Words, because they aren't new. There's nothing new to be learned from them. They've already been out. They were aired on American news. They're on the internet. In fact, you can watch them in their entirety on the internet. I've watched them in their entirety. There's nothing new to be gleaned from them, which is why I haven't mentioned them. But I did mention the new tapes, the missing tapes, which one of the snippets was about Charles sat on the toilet talking to Camilla. Nina says, I thought they made Charles and Camilla look bad. To be honest, my personal opinion is that it's so much water under the bridge. It's only being dragged up because it's the 20th anniversary. And really, like I say, I didn't enjoy the documentary that was out there. I shan't be watching it again. I only watched it halfway through. And I think, if you want to hear Diana in her own words, watch the tapes on YouTube. Because they are, on the most part, unedited and fairly unbiased. So I would say watch the ones on the internet, not the new documentary. Dawn says, good for you, Elliot. Thank you so much. The first Mrs. R says, in your opinion, do you think that Prince Andrew and Sarah, Duchess of York, might remarry? I think they possibly could. And what would need to happen for that to occur? In the meantime, what is her status in the royal family? She's a member of the royal family, but not a royal highness. The HRH was taken away, like Diana's HRH. She's known as Sarah, Duchess of York, not the Duchess of York, which recognises the fact that she is divorced. To remarry, it would have to be a ceremony like Prince Charles and Camilla. So it would have to be a civil ceremony, possibly followed by a church blessing. And that's what would have to happen. And, I hope that they do, because they kind of live together like husband and wife. So, why not? Why not? Jamie says, oh my goodness, that Danish chap needs to get his wrists slapped. It does kind of stink a little bit, I have to agree. Okay. James says, no country will let a foreign prince be a king consort. That could be one reason. But then again, I know Prince Philip was Prince Philip of Greece, but he was nationalised, and he hasn't been made king consort or even prince consort. So it happens, and I think Prince Henrique needs to just get over it. Oh dear says, Prince Henrique should mind his P's and Q's and remember where his bread is buttered. I do agree. Dawn says, Prince Philip would not say that because the Queen might bury him next to Edward and Wallace in Frogmore. Yes, out on the fringe. Jamie says, the whole feminist equality stuff is a pile of rubbish. The first Mrs. R says, I think Prince Henrique is out of line. He knew for their entire marriage this is the way things would be. Oh dear, saying Dawn, that's funny. It is indeed. The first Mrs. R says, furthermore, going back as far as Mary I, who married Philip I of Spain, male co-rulers have posed a problem for female monarchs. Elizabeth I stayed single for a good reason. She was smart. She was a smart cookie, and also one of my favourite royal ladies, or queens, so to speak. And I'm laughing at Jamie's comment, but I'm not going to read it. The first Mrs. R said Prince Philip would never bring up a title change because he has too much class and sees his job as a help and support to his wife. I think the Queen described him as her strength and stay. Ren says, I think it is a ploy to up his status. Jamie's saying my flowers look great. Thank you very much. In fact, actually, believe it or not, they're starting to wilt. I have taken a few out, but they're about 10 days old now. Pebbles says, why the discrepancy now with Prince Henrik and Queen Marguerite? I think probably because he knows that if it's not rectified soon, it will never be, and perhaps he's always felt like that. Ren says he has been Prince Consort since then. Why the big issue now? Because he wants to. It's obviously his wish to be King Consort and have the same status as his wife. I think he's very old-fashioned in that view. Candice thinks Prince Henrik is a baby. He needs to take a look at how Prince Philip has held up all these years. I completely agree. Jamie says, Elliot, I have uncovered a new conspiracy. Prince Henrik of Denmark is in fact a pregnant beaver in disguise. No pregnant beavers. Keep them away. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go check out my video 2 live chats ago about the quiz. There was a quiz I did, and it involved pregnant beavers that were very funny. HW says, Elliot, were you aware that as a new bride, Princess Diana attended the funeral of Princess Grace Monaco? Yes, it's when she wore that black dress that was quite revealing. And that was her first engagement. So yes, I was aware of that. And she actually really liked Princess Grace when she met her a couple of times early. Oh, actually, no. The dress I was on about was when she met Princess Grace a couple of months, I think it was, before her death, and then she went to a funeral and represented the family. Okay, now I'm going to check my list because I did write quite a big list. Oh yes, Charles and Camilla's holiday in Greece aboard a super yacht. They look like they had an amazing time, although they are back in the UK now, and that's believed to be at Balmoral because Prince Charles attended the May Games. Okay, I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything. Oh yes, Princess Diana's burial island. I do believe that I have kind of uncovered, I know this is quite morbid, but we do kind of like talking about morbid things on these live chats. I don't know why. But I do believe I know where on the island exactly she is buried, where her actual grave is. And if you check out the video I made about her burial island, you can clearly see from, there must be new photographs on Google, on the aerial view of Google Maps, because I think I looked years ago and it was really overgrown. And we know that the island has been renovated and the trees have been cleared. And you can see the centre of the island. You can see all the different paths and they all lead to a white central kind of oval in the middle of the oval. And you can tell that it's some kind of raised platform because it casts a shadow. And on top of the raised platform is some kind of monument because that also casts a shadow. Now, I've come to the conclusion that the only place that she can possibly be buried is actually underneath this structure. I don't believe the structure has always been there. I do believe that she was probably buried in the ground, and possibly nothing was on there for a while. I don't know whether this has just happened in the recent renovations or whether it's been there for a while. I don't know. But I do then believe that something has been put on the top to mark the spot. And it looks like some kind of monument because it casts a shadow. So it is fairly tall. There appears to be something which looks like a bench as well, so people can go and sit. And we know that there was a rededication ceremony carried out. So it seems rather fitting that something has been put there. I believe it's fairly recent. But if you want to have a look at what's on the island, do go check out that video. Okay, Oh Dear says, I have seen many beavers over the years. I wouldn't know a pregnant one if I saw one. Just need to drive a kilometre out of town and there they are, pregnant or not. And Jamie says, the world is ran by pregnant beavers in disguise. I'm not going to laugh this week at pregnant beavers. Jamie says, Charles looks great in his shorts, although in Scotland he does tend to wear a kilt. Oh Dear says, I did see the oval video. The middle shore looks like a place. Well, you know, I reckon, you know, that marks the spot. I really do. For those of you curious that wanted to know where it is, I believe that's where it is. Dawn Moore says, I liked that video of the island. Thanks for that. Candice says, I still cannot believe that they let Diana's gravesite go in such disarray. Well, I began to kind of wonder if in fact they did, because seeing it now from the aerial point of view, we know that there's also a hedge, a screening hedge, planted around this new structure. Now, a hedge takes quite a long time to grow, so I know that the hedge isn't new. It's not a new hedge. It's been there for a while. So I can only imagine that perhaps the centre of the island was maintained and it was let grow kind of bushy and looked fairly unattended on the outside so that people couldn't see in. So I'm wondering actually whether or not it was that overgrown at the centre. So perhaps the centre was maintained. And of course, you know, when William and Harry went to visit, they'd have to be able to get to it, which is why there's all the paths and the centre. So I'm wondering whether or not the centre was actually maintained. The outside was let go bushy to kind of help screen it even more, although it has been renovated since, possibly that new structure added, the trees thinned, but that hedge still screens this structure from the outside. So if you're standing on the bank of the oval lake looking at it, probably from whatever angle you look, even though the bushes and trees have been thinned out, you will not see this structure. You can see the urn that's on the edge of the island, but that doesn't mark the spot. Her spot, I believe, is the very, very centre. Pebble says, is there any truth to Diana being buried other than on the island? I don't think so. The crypt, the Spencer family crypt in the local church, is actually quite crowded. I believe it was not her father, not his father, possibly her great-grandfather had all the coffins in the Spencer family vault exhumed, and he had them all cremated because there was no room. There was no room for a big coffin in the vault. So all of his ancestors he had opened up. In fact, he did reveal that they still had their red hair, the Spencer family red hair, which is of course where Harry gets it from, and he had them all cremated. So Diana would have had to have been cremated to have fit in the family vault, and of course we know she wished to be buried. That was in her will, and you can't overturn the wishes of someone in a will. It would take massive, you know, legal wrangling to get that changed. There wasn't time for that. So I don't believe there is any truth in the fact that she's been cremated and put in the family vault, or even the coffin put in the vault, because it was a a half-ton lead-lined coffin. It wouldn't fit. There's not enough space in the family vault. So I do believe she is on the island. The the bearers that took her over to the island on the temporary wooden bridge that was erected, that can be it can be assembled and disassembled whenever they want to get across. So she was carried across. The bearers that took her across said that they witnessed her being lowered into the ground, and then it was a private family ceremony, and then of course it was all filled in. And that's all we kind of know about it. But I certainly believe that she's there on the island and not anywhere else. The fact that there was a rededication, a private rededication ceremony carried out on the island, also points to the fact that she's there. The fact that a monument was constructed on the island points to the fact that it's there. The fact that there is a hedge that screens off the centre points to the fact that she's there. The fact that it was one of her favourite places, that one of her favourite pets is buried there too, also points to the fact that she's there. To me, she's there, and I don't believe in any of the conspiracy theories. HW says, Elliot, yes, your video on Diana's grave placement was great. Did you also see that rubbish that Earl Spencer pulled a switcheroo and actually buried Diana in the local church? I think I've just spoke about that. But yes, no switcheroo in my view. That rhymes. James says, I do not like her being alone on the island. That's certainly one view. Okay, and I think I'm going to conclude this week's chat here. I think I've spoken about every. Oh, my birthday cards. I was going to show my birthday cards. So if you still, there's a few other things I wanted to show you too. I nearly forgot. I wanted to show you a new book which I received. I bought it with some of my birthday money, and I hope you can all see it. It's the new Ken Wharf book called Guarding Diana. And I haven't started reading it yet, but it does look very good. That's the back cover, and of course the front cover. It's when she was in Egypt. It's by Inspector Ken Wharf with Robert Jobson. It's called Guarding Diana, Protecting the Princess Around the World. There's some interesting photographs in it as well, which you can see. There's just an example of some of the photos. And it's all about his time spent protecting the princess. So that's going to be my August read. It is available on Amazon. Now, I did say I was going to show you some birthday cards, didn't I? So I'm not going to go into them and say exactly what's inside them. But I love cats, as you know. I have my Molly and Rory. And this was one card that I received. I'm just going to put them over here. And I had another cat card. There you go, cute cat. I had one from my parents, which says son on front, obviously. Hopefully you can see these. One from my granddad, which is a big bear with lots of presents. Had a ship. Another cute cat. I'm going to kind of go through these really quickly. A hooray, it's your birthday. Some lovely flowers, because I love flowers. A funny card. I'm going to have to do that so I can read it. It says, the instructor asked me how flexible I was. I said I can't make Tuesdays or Thursdays. It's two old ladies laughing. Can you see? Another grandson card. And from my partner, I had a nice one with 2 bears. There we go. And those are my birthday cards. So I hope you enjoyed my birthday cards. Oh, also, I want to show you, I had another cool, it's a notebook, but it's nice and shiny. Can you see? It's really shiny, and it's kind of bound. It's got like a latch on it, which is quite cool. So it's a notebook, so that when I make my notes, I can kind of make them. It's got really good quality paper, and there's, you probably can't see, but that's gold. It's all gold tipped. As I said, it's got the latch. Not sure if you can hear it. Listen. There you go. It's really shiny and nice. So I love my new notebook, which I can use for my Royal Reviewer channel. I'm just going to go back and have a quick look at some of your comments before I say goodbye. Okay, so thank you again for another fabulous chat. I was really glad to be back. Same time next week, 10 o'clock GMT. Every Saturday. You can always watch on catch up if you've missed some of the chat. Little itch. When you have an itch, you should always scratch. Don't forget, if you want to smell me, what I smelt like this week, go to your local pharmacy or aftershave perfumery and look for Versace Eros. Scratch and sniff. So, without further ado, all left for me to say is, from me in Shropshire, have a fantastic week. Goodbye.